Welcome back to Sport SA Daily Diary. Today we'll be chatting to South African hockey player Lisa Deetlefs. Hey Lisa, how are you doing today?
Good, thanks, New Adam. Thank you for having me on your podcast little show here. It's great to be here. Thank you.
Absolute pleasure. It's great to chat to you and great to expand into different sports, including hockey.
Yeah, I'm excited.
How's it going so far, Lisa, with regards to the lockdown? Normally you're up early and going to school as you're head of hockey at St Andrews. Must be a bit of a nice break.
No, it is. It's a bit of a nice break, like you're saying, and I think I am going to struggle a bit going back. But yeah, it hasn't been too bad. I'm got into a little bit of a routine of training. I'm able to still train, which is good. But yeah, not too bad yet. Touch wood. A little bit of a cabin fever setting in, but not too bad yet.
Yeah, I think that's the common thing at the moment is the cabin fever, just trying to get out, sort of fighting to go to the shops. Who actually goes to the shops?
Well, I'm a little bit of a paranoid one, so I'm like, Dad, you can go. It's fine. Like, I'll chill here. So that I'm not worried about that one yet.
Oh, excellent. How are you actually doing training, Lisa? Because it's not as if you can have a hockey pitch in your back garden.
No, for sure. In terms of hockey, that's the one that's taken a little bit of a beating. But physical wise, I'm able to run my treadmill. I'm lucky enough to have a treadmill. It is a bit of a skodonk, but it does its job. And weights wise with gym and stuff, my program has been modified for quite a while now. So I have my TRX and my rehab stuff. So I'm lucky to be able to still do all of that at the moment.
And no ball skills though?
No ball skills. I do have a little mat, like a hockey mat that, it's about 2.7 meters by 2.7 meters. So it's not really that big, but I mean, at least you still be able to do some yardsticks and stuff like that. Yeah. But of course, no proper training.
I would imagine for a sport like hockey, and I suppose it's the same for football and all those other ball sports, it must be actually quite difficult because if you're not practicing every day, you are going to lose a bit of form or a bit of the touch.
No, yeah, I think with the amount of training that we do normally do, I'm not too worried about it. Of course, like you say, you're going to lose a little bit. But when we get back into it, I mean, we had a Zoom chat with our whole team and our coach on the weekend to say, okay, what is the plan going forward? When we start, okay, it's going to be 3-4 sessions. So yes, the worry is that you do lose, but I think also it's a little bit of a welcome rest to some of us too, because our year is quite chock-a-block. We don't have an off season. So it's not too much of a worry yet. I think if it gets extended or we can't play until the end of the year, then I think we're all going to start panicking. But at the moment, we're just saying it is what it is. We can't worry about something we've got absolutely no control over. So that's the way we're coping at the moment with it.
And Lisa, you mentioned about having a chocolate box season, and I'm sure you do. You've just played China. But a lot of the players, if not all of the players in the South African hockey team, aren't full-time. So they've got jobs as well. It must be quite something to have to balance your job, your training, your fitness, the matches, etc., and a lifestyle. How do you actually manage that?
A lot of support. I think we're very lucky, like you're saying. I think at the moment there is only one player in our squad that is full-time, can you say, where she's playing abroad in Belgium, Durkee. Whereas the rest of us, like you're saying, we're juggling either varsity or work. And I think we've come to a point where we've made really good relationships with our jobs and people that we work with, where they do allow us to do a lot more than the average person that is working for them. Yeah. So it is a juggling act. You are sometimes asking for a lot, but I think a lot of people understand the dream that we're all chasing. So they are a little bit more lenient in that. So that's how we get through. And then luckily, for me, I'm the lucky one that I'm in Joburg and everything is based in Joburg. So the majority of the squad is based here. So it's a little bit easier. But then, unfortunately for some of them that are in Durban and Western Province is a little bit more tricky. But everyone has got a really, really good support structure in place to assist them as best as they can.
I suppose that certainly helps. Lisa, you grew up in Joburg. Was hockey always your number one sport, or did you play any other sports at school?
Hockey actually only came to the fore in high school. I was actually a swimmer. Yes, these shoulders are not natural. I used to swim provincially and nationally from the age of 6 to about 11. And then also I was at Emmarentia Primary, so we had no hockey. And it's a co-ed school, so I decided I have 2 older brothers. I'm going to play a little bit of cricket. So I played cricket in standard 5 or grade 7, as they say now, which was lots of fun. And then when I got to St. Mary's, because I went to St. Mary's Waverley for high school, Ros Hull at that stage was the national coach. And I thought, you know what? I've got the hand-eye coordination from cricket from my brothers also. So let me just give it a shot, and absolutely loved it and decided that's where I want to go. And yeah, I'd never looked back since. I fell in love with the sport from the very first moment. So it wasn't first choice sport, but I think if I knew about it earlier, it could have been, but I don't think I would be sitting here then still playing, because it takes a lot of strain on the body.
Yeah, I'm sure, and especially those knees. Did you take to it very quickly? A lot of the sports people I've chatted to, they've played numerous sports, and then they found the sports that they prefer are now professionals in, and they seem to take to it very quickly. Was that the same for you?
In terms of taking to hockey very quickly?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I think also I was very lucky to be in the high school that I was in. So, you know, to grasp onto it was very quick, because it was the main sport at St. Mary's. And then, you know, I just followed that process of, okay, when I matriculated, I was very naughty. I didn't choose what I wanted to do in terms of studying. I chose where I could better my hockey. And at that stage, it was UJ. And, you know, half the national side was there. So it is only bound to, you know, be a positive and impact you positively if you're surrounded by those, you know, caliber of players. So my progression was very, very quick in terms of you had to, you know, float or sink. So I latched onto it, yeah, very quickly. And then, like I said, I was just very fortunate to have an environment where, you know, the growth was just so quick.
And you ended up studying psychology. Any specific reason why?
All my friends did it, to be honest. I wanted to actually do physio, to be quite fair. But when I heard that you have to work with cadavers in second year, I was like, I'm out. I can't do that. I think I'm a very visual person. I think I'd have nightmares for the rest of my life. So I decided, no, okay, let's just go into something that would be able to, I know it's very bad, would be able to allow me to do hockey and, you know, study still. It didn't actually quite pan out that way. I only got my degree in 2018, 12 years later.
You've got it.
Yeah. So I had a few stages of sabbaticals, 5 years, 6 years sabbaticals here and there. But yeah, I got it done eventually, and just at least have something behind my name. And then, yeah, everyone's saying I should now maybe do physio and go back, but I don't know. I'm still thinking about that one. But it really, that would have been my number one choice of study.
Okay. So before we get on to your hockey career, would you ever do psychology as a profession?
Sure. No, to be honest. I think it's a very complex field to be in, and I think being a sports person too, and having sports psychologists around, I don't like having, you know, divulging too much into that, because then I feel like you get a bit too much in your head. So I don't think while I'm playing hockey, I would go that route, but perhaps afterwards, because it is quite interesting. Yeah.
Okay. So back to your hockey, while we're really here. You've had an amazing career. You've had over 250 appearances for South Africa, which is quite monumental. You made your debut in 2007 against Canada. Tell us a bit about that. From the time you got called up to the time you walked onto the field, it must have been a special moment for you.
No, it was very special, and it was very unexpected. Back in that stage, well, in those days, when you played for SAU, or USA as they call it now, they chose a SAU team. And I made that team, and they said, okay, you're going to go play against Canada and Ireland in some friendlies as a warm-up for the series that they're going to have against South Africa. So this was all in Stellenbosch. So we went, and I thought, okay, jeepers, what an awesome, occasion or environment to be in, watching my idols play and being able to play top team. So we played, and I remember Shelley Russell, because she was in my class in St. Mary's, and she was in the national team, and we were having this big chat, and she said to me, actually the night before I got called up, she's like, Lise, keep playing, because I hear Jen's noticed you. And I was like, oh, Shell, whatever, never. Why now? How? And the very next day, Kate Woods, or Hector at that stage, had to go overseas. And I got a tap on my shoulder from the convener of selectors saying, listen, Lise, you played really well. I didn't even know that they were going to maybe, look into us. I mean, we were the USA team. And they said, we're going to give you a shot, and we would like you to join the series. Well, Adam, if I tell you, I don't think my smile came off my face for the next 3 weeks. My cheeks were sore. I just couldn't stop smiling. And so I got called up, and we were playing Canada, 14th of January. I'll never forget. And it was T. Bright's 50th cap. And at that stage, our coach had to go off for some personal reasons. So our assistant coach took over, Fabian Gregory, and he was like, okay, Lise, you're going on. So I was like, what? So he's like, yeah, you're going on. And I was just ready to watch the game. I mean, I made myself comfortable. I was like, yeah, I'm here, And I went on and I played. And yeah, I'll never forget. The commentator even announced, it's my first cap. And such a beautiful scene as well in Stellenbosch with the mountains behind. And one I'll absolutely never, ever, ever, ever forget. And I think I played about 10 minutes. I didn't care if I played 1 minute. Yeah. It was more than anything. And yeah, that's where it really ignited from then on. And I was like, okay, because I wasn't in the best shape. I was loving first year varsity, and I said, okay, no, it's now proper, I need to make sure that I stay in this team now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, talking about that coming on, that first few moments, do you actually remember it, or do you remember from the first time you actually got involved, when you first hit the ball or your first tackle or whatever it was? Because a lot of guys, they seem to be in a bit in space for that first few seconds of coming on. How was it for you?
Yeah, to be honest, I don't remember the game at all. I remember sitting on the bench and then turning to Fabian and him saying, okay, Lise, it's your time. And I remember clearly the commentator saying, okay, it's your first cap. And then I remember shaking hands afterwards. In between, I'm blank. I have no idea what happened. Yeah, I've actually never even been asked that question before. It's strange. I don't have a clue what happened.
That's excellent. Lise, you're a defensive player. Has that always been your position of choice? And where did you learn to read the game? Because I played defense in football, and it's certainly a position where you have to be able to read the game. You don't have to be the fastest or the most technical or whatever, but you have to be able to read the game. Is that a strength of yours?
I would hope it's a strength of mine, yeah. I think when I started, Miss Hull was very clever in where she put me, and she put me as left back. And in hockey, it's quite a specialist position. Mm-hmm. So it was a very smart move, because I knew no better. So everything that I was taught, I was lucky enough to be able to start and then just keep growing on it. And then just, of course, I'd say that the influences from certain coaches definitely enhanced that aspect of my game. So a very, very influential coach for me would have been Giles Bonnet in my career, as well as, of course, Jen King, who started my career off. But Giles really took it to another standard, or another level, should I say. We were playing over 100 games a year. Mm. And with experience like that, I think you're able to hone in on that, because you start seeing the repetition of the patterns or the moments in the games that would normally take you, say, 4 years to actually get through. We're getting through in 1 year. So that definitely assisted in that, yeah.
From your debut, Lise, in 2007, you then went to Beijing for the 28 Olympics, or 2008 Olympics. Tell us a bit about that. That, again, must have been a real special moment for you.
Yeah, it was. Again, very unexpected because it was so soon. I mean, a year after I'd started. And I know it came down to the wire in terms of selection. And, again, I was lucky enough to have a very close friend of Shelley Russell in the side. And the experience, I mean, we were a little bit of rabbits in headlights, and the occasion is massive. So the struggle for me was being able to focus on okay, now it's put that aside. You saw Roger Federer, well done, but now you have to play and calm down. You know what I mean? So that was the tricky thing. But yeah, I was also fortunate enough to have my family there. So it was very special. Stepping out into the stadium and it was so full, and yeah, you can't put into words that everything that everyone's worked for your whole career is come into one moment. And yeah, I'm so grateful to have been able to experience that and learn from it, actually. Yeah.
And were you part of the opening ceremony?
Yes, we were. In our lovely Crocs, we paraded. I won't lie, I'm very much the type of person that I would rather rest and then play the next day. So that took a lot out of us. And Beijing, especially, Beijing was massive. I think we walked for like 3Ks before entering the stadium.
Sure.
But again, it's an experience that I think you can't miss out on. So very happy that I went. But the only unfortunate part is that you play game one the very next day. So it's a bit of a tricky one to balance.
And we'll come back to the experience of that Olympics. But when you went to the 2012 Olympics, did you again do the opening ceremony? Because I have heard from athletes that it isn't a really exhausting. It's an amazing experience, but it's an exhausting experience, as you said.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, we did go to the 2012 opening ceremony. Again, it was just, I think, a lot of us had been to two by that stage, or it was our second one at that stage, or maybe third for some. So the managing of the body beforehand was a lot more important. And so the whole day people like rested and made sure, and we would also make a cutoff time and say, okay, if it's not done by, say, midnight, we're leaving and we'll get on the bus, because of course there's shuttles. So we did do that, and we're a little bit more clever in that in terms of trying to get out and get back home and sleep, because like I say, hockey starts literally day one of the Olympics. So, and we generally were in the pool that plays the first day.
And that first game at the Olympics in 2008?
2008, I can't remember who we played, to be honest, in the first game. But I know I definitely played. So, yeah, the first half of 2008 is a little bit of a blur, to be honest. I can clearly remember the second half, but the first half, we played the Dutch. No, I do remember who we played. It's an experience playing number one in the world as game one. So, yeah, it was a bit of a tough start. I think that's why it's a bit of a blur, because I wanted to forget about it. But, yeah, I think also we need to be realistic. And I remember actually Adrian telling us, okay, ladies, we're not going to go there for the win. We have to be realistic. They are fully professional. So we need to go there and make sure we're executing the things that we want to execute and better for the games later on that are more of the earmarked games to win. So, yeah, it was a bit of a tough start.
After that Olympics, you've obviously participated in the Commonwealth Games twice as well, and performed very well, where South Africa came fourth on both occasions. That's quite an achievement, considering the opposition.
Yeah. Again, I think we were very lucky in the program that we had at that time. When Giles came on board, at that stage, we had a very, very big sponsorship from Investec, which, like I said, allowed us to play many, many games. So, I mean, in 2010, I'll never forget, in India, Giles was like, just play. And we were like, what do you mean just play? And he's like, I want you to play attacking hockey. I don't care if you make mistakes. And I think we were in such a rut of this fear of failure that our game plan just defaulted to one of sit back and defend, because that's what we're supposed to be doing. So when we were let out a little bit of the cage, I mean, we produced results. I'll never forget sitting next to some New Zealand players while GB was playing, and we had to play GB the next day. And they were like, listen, we don't want to meet you guys because you're such an unknown threat, because they've never seen us play like this before. So, yeah, that one, we were very close. I think we lost 1-0 to New Zealand in the semi. And then again, I think we were better prepared for the 2014 Commonwealth. But sure, there were moments in those games that if they just fell the other way, I think the results would have been better. So we are very devastated about the 2014 result, whereas 2010 was like a bonus for how we're playing, and we just took anything and everything.
Well, you kind of followed those up with gold medals at both the 2013 and the 2017 Africa Cup of Nations. Again, you're not playing the easiest opposition. That must have been a great moment for you guys.
No, it's massive. And I think also everyone in world hockey has this perception that we have the easy route of Africa Cup, and it's by no means that. I mean, the environments that you find yourself in sometimes, the pitches that you play on at times are not maybe what you used to. So we have a lot of curveballs thrown at us, and we just have to adapt. And I think that's what makes South African sports so unique, is that we have so many different challenges that the world sports teams don't get. So it was a phenomenal, especially 2013, if I'm not mistaken. I remember I was very naughty. I got a yellow card with 5 minutes to go, and we were 2-1 down. And I remember saying to myself, if we lose, I'm retiring, because that's it. I'm done. I've cost us the World Cup. I've cost us Commonwealth. And luckily, we had a phenomenal goal from Tanya Brits to equalize 2-2. And then I think we scored again right at the end to win 3-2. So, yeah, we've had some interesting times. But like you said, we were very, very chuffed with the win in 2013 and 2017.
Yeah, I'm sure. Lisa, I had a chat to Siggy Berger, who plays netball for South Africa, yesterday. And she was chatting to me about the dirty habits of some players in netball, the pinching and the gouging and that sort of thing. Is there a similar trait in hockey where girls can get a bit rough around the edges at times?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a fine line between being street smart and being dirty, and I think we've all been faced with it. Generally, our team, we're not one to play dirty or hit people on purpose and stuff like that. But I know some of the big names in world hockey, you know certain players that you have to watch out for when they get a little bit irritated. I mean, they got a weapon in their hand. It's bound to happen if you irritate them. So, we've had a few, stitches. I remember playing in Argentina, and Marcel Keat was also SA water polo. She was defending one of the strikers, and the girl just got so irritated. She hit her in the head, and she was cut open with stitches. And so it does get rough. It does get a bit, but it's not like this, like intense, I'm going after you, going to beat you. It's just moments where people see the red mist. So it's not very often. Yeah.
Okay. And then back home, you had a great season this season with your club team, or your Macquarie Rangers. You won the league, which was a great result. First time?
Yeah, PHL. Yeah, so it was the first time. I think PHL has been going on for now 4 years, if I'm not mistaken, and we made the finals for 3 out of those 4 years. And I remember just saying, okay, the first year we really thought we would win it, and I was like, we're on such a roll. We were beating the teams that everyone thought would win, and then we missed it. But last year was very, very special because it went down to shootouts, and it's not. I've always said it's not a nice way to win. It's not a nice way to lose. But I was just exceptionally happy that it fell our way that time. So yeah, first time out of 3, and hoping if PHL continues this year that we can repeat that, because now the pressure's on to hold on to that cup.
Yeah, well, all be gunning for you guys.
Yeah.
Lisa, the most difficult person you've played against in your career? Is there anyone that stands out? Yeah,
Luciana Amar from Argentina. I think she's 7-time World Player of the Year. She was phenomenal. Her reactions were like a man. I think she played against boys. She would make the men's team, some of the men's teams look silly. So she was very, very, very tough to play against. I'd say her, and then I would say in the Dutch team, I'd say Ellen Hoog was also quite tough to play against. Yeah.
Okay, so great players out there. As mentioned earlier in the show, you're now head of hockey at St Andrews, so you're looking after the girls. Do you use that opportunity and the experience that you've gained over the years, obviously, to pass on to the girls? What is the sort of 2 or 3 key points that you share with them if they come to you to say, okay, Lisa, I'd love to get to where you are today?
Yeah, for me, it's just, I keep telling the girls that, they need to, if they want to, of course, get to the standard, it's a lot of practice, it's a lot of hard work. And so, of course, that would be number 1. And then number 2 would be to ask as many questions as possible and just be a sponge and try and gain as much information and knowledge about anything as possible, be it, for your practices, be it for tactics, be it for technical aspects, just asking, because I think sometimes we fall into a trap of, when we coach, we tell players what to do as opposed to them problem solving. So we don't create enough thinkers. And I think that's a bit of a downfall in terms of the coaching aspect of stuff. And that's something that I really want to focus on, especially at St Andrews, changing, where the girls are problem solving. They're sorting it out themselves. We're not telling them what to do.
Do you enjoy that coaching aspect of the game?
Oh, I love it. I did hate it at one stage when I was playing abroad, because you just don't want to see a hockey field. But no, I absolutely love it. And being at a school like St Andrews too, where, they are very focused on their sport, and it's quite a nice a high performance environment. So the girls are always keen and willing to play and learn. So absolutely love it. And it also challenges you, because sometimes they throw some curveballs at you that you're like, oh, okay, didn't think about that. But so it's a great environment to be in. Yeah, love it.
Awesome, very nice. And what is just in closing, Lisa, what does the future hold for Lisa? Obviously, South Africa have qualified for the 2020, now 2021 Olympics. That's obviously a goal for you to be part of that. What's after that?
To be honest, I haven't thought further than that. I know, like, I'm not the spring chicken in the team, so I know I have to manage my body and make sure that, I get there firstly. So, and of course, warrant, my selection in terms of performance. So purely focusing on the next 12 months. I'm very much one that wants to continue until my body says I really can't, or I don't get selected because I'm not good enough. So, but like past that, I think I'm going to try, of course, but I'm really not thinking further than that at the moment. I'm just making sure I'm 100% for next year, come 2020 Olympics, like you're saying. So,
again, sorry, just one more question in closing. You say you're not a spring chicken, I mean, you're only 32. So in a lot of our eyes, you are still a spring chicken. Was the move of the Olympics this year a blow to you, or is it a opportunity to train more and get more match ready, considering your position where you say you are at the moment?
I think a lot of us felt a lot of mixed emotions. Initially, it was sadness, because of course you've been training, you've been mentally preparing. Everything was building up to a peak. I think our team was going to be announced within a month from when lockdown happened. So we were all building up to that, and so the disappointment came from that. That it was now, oh gosh, now you need to click the reset. But I immediately thought, great, because like you say, we're not professional. So we need as much contact time as possible. And I only saw it as a positive in terms of, okay, great, it gives us more prep time. I know now, okay, it's not possible, but hopefully if all this, we come out of the COVID pandemic, not, sooner than later, then we can get training, which will benefit us. But from a personal perspective, again, like I said, I just need to make sure I manage it, and I wasn't upset about it. I knew, okay, you need to just suck it up a little bit longer now, type vibe. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, we'll be holding thumbs for you that you are part of that team, and who knows what the future holds for you.
Thank you. Thanks,
Lisa. It's been great chatting to you. Thank you so much for your time today on Sport SA Daily Diary. It's been really insightful, and good luck with the rest of your career.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate it, Adam, and keep well and keep safe. And chat to you soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, thank you. You too. Catch us again tomorrow on Sport SA Daily Diary, where we'll be chatting to EFC and UFC fighter Gareth Soldier Boy McClellan.